Welcome everyone to Life Beyond 6 Feet. I'm Damien from RKB Paranormal, and this week I'm super excited about our guest. This week we have Cindy Kaza. She's a medium. She's been on several different paranormal shows. Cindy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It is an honor to have you on. Like I said, I've been pretty excited since you agreed to come on. So I'm just going to jump right in. At what age did you kind of realize you had your abilities?
Well, it's one of those things where I've had it my whole entire life, but I didn't understand it until I was in my 20s, really. So I was having experiences as a kid. I could see things that were going to happen before they happened. I could sense spirits, but I came from a family that didn't talk about that sort of thing. Like my family's Catholic. Um, Not so much. People aren't super religious now, but growing up, the grandparents, all that stuff. So we didn't talk about mediums. We didn't talk about seeing spirits. I kept a lot of my experiences to myself because I didn't really understand what was happening. And so when I was like 19, around 18, 19, I met my first mentor, and she saw that I was psychic. She was psychic. So she knew, she said, "You're psychic." And I still didn't quite get it. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And so she was one of the first people to kind of start, teaching me about metaphysics, about psychic ability. She read tarot cards. She did all of that sort of stuff. She worked at a metaphysical store. And so she really helped me start to understand what had been happening for all of those years. And then, around 24, 25 years old, I really made the decision, like, I need to figure this out because it's not going away, and I think that I could use this in my life. And then I never looked back, but it took me time. It wasn't like at age 10 when I had the first memorable experience that I knew, "Oh, I'm a psychic medium. This is what I'm gonna do with my life." Like, it wasn't that at all, you
Right.
know? hmm
So, like as a child, how was it difficult kind of dealing with that, or did it kind of scare you a little bit when you first started experiencing this stuff? How did that go when you were a child?
Yeah, it was scary. The first experience I can remember having was seeing a dead girl standing next to my bed, like looking at me. And I pulled the covers over my head and I pulled them back, and she was still standing there. And
Mm.
it was terrifying. Oh, there's K.D. Yay, K.D.'s here. What up, K.D.? Oh, he has no audio yet. So anyway, yeah. So so it was really scary, but I could also sense things about people. I'm psychic. So psychics sense past, present, future. Mediums talk to spirits. I'm both. So I could read people very well. I could sense energies in a room really well. It was very overwhelming as a child, and I didn't understand what was happening. I think I just thought that that's was normal, right?
Right.
Because I didn't know any different. So yeah, no, it definitely is not easy being a psychic kid. And I think any kid you talk to that's gone through that will tell you the same thing. It's like really hard to navigate.
Oh, I'm sure it would probably scare the hell out of a lot of kids, especially waking up and seeing a dead person standing beside their bed and you don't know really what's going on. So, and now we have another special guest, K.D. Stafford. Welcome to the show, man. Oh,
Can't hear you, dude. Where are you?
Can you hear me now?
we can
Yes.
hear you now. All right.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I have my phone is apparently so new that it doesn't work with anything else that I have.
It's all good. Well, I appreciate you joining the show. I think I actually had reached out to you about a week ago. I don't think you've seen the message yet.
Dude, I'm
Just
so terrible at checking, my social media messages.
right.
If I had money, I would hire somebody else to do it.
I don't blame you. So how did you two get involved? Like, how did you two meet and start working together?
Production
Well,
company.
yeah, yeah. That's it.
All
hmm
right, and y'all have worked on
But it was thank goodness that they did though. It was it was good for me because I'm used to I stay in a bubble,
right.
and I don't like get out and meet enough new people. I feel like even since I started doing the shows, so I liked, yeah, at first it was like what do I do? I don't know anybody. We
Right,
literally met the day before we started filming.
right.
It's true. Like, yeah, we
I
showed
mean,
up
we
in.
talked once on a meet in like a Zoom call, but
Right.
Mhm.
Well, like
Yeah.
me and my wife's been watching Ghost of Devil's Perch. We've seen all the episodes so far, and it's really intriguing. It's kind of kept us drawn in. And there's been a couple of what the fuck moments whenever something would happen, and she was like, what was that?" And we would have to rewind it just to watch it again to kind of figure out what was going on. So, how does that
Right.
experience go for you guys?
I mean, it was
Cindy?
wild, right? I don't know. I mean, paranormal investigations are always for me, it's like I just go in and see what I'm tapping into. But I think Butte was a really special because there's so much paranormal activity in Butte and it's really condensed, right? It's in like a really small town. Butte is
Hmm.
it's pretty small, right? And
Yeah.
it's like it's just everywhere, you
You know,
know?
it looks small, like during the day, like when you're in town, but you know, like when you come across the mountain at night, it's like
Yeah, yeah,
it looks so massive, you know. It's
yeah,
so weird.
yeah.
Right. So I'm just gonna kind of go back and forth here now. I wasn't expecting to have two guests, but that's perfectly fine. I'm excited to have two of y'all now.
Well, me and Cindy like to challenge people, so
I guess so. All right, so I'm gonna go back to Cindy for a second. So how did you get initially involved in all the TV shows? Did somebody reach out to you? Did you reach out to a company, say, "Hey, I think I could help you guys"? How did you initially get involved in all the shows you've been on?
Yeah, so Holzer Files was the first series that I was a regular on, like a,
Hmm.
and so a production company actually found me. They reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're making the show. Is it something you'd be interested in?" And then I had to go through like a series of interviews and meet the network and all that stuff. So yeah, so that's how that happened. And then Holzer Files ended, and then the network put me on the Ghosts of, series. And KD was on the season prior to Devil's Perch. So he was on Ghosts of Morgan City. So he rolled into Devil's Perch and then I came on to Devil's Perch. And so that's how we met. But yeah, it was very much the production company reaching out, and then being part of the network. And then, also over the last few years, I've been very fortunate to be able to be a guest on several of the shows on Travel Channel and Discovery
Hmm.
Plus, which has been really, really fun.
Right.
she does really good. She does a lot of stuff, man. I don't know how in the world she does the just the level, like the amount of things that she does. It's
Right.
crazy.
She's a very busy individual, that's for sure.
Yes.
And you touched on the Holter Files. I absolutely love that show, and I hated to hear whenever they canceled it after two seasons. I was like, man, I was like, there was so much more they could do with that.
Yeah.
So what was that like, kind of revisiting his old cases?
Oh, it was so fun. I mean, I love being a part of that show. I was really bummed out when it got canceled too. Who knows why?
It
The
was a
things
good show.
happened. It was a really fun show to make. It was super like interesting to be able to go back and revisit these places all of these years later. And it was really an honor to be able to be a part of something that, Hans Holzer
Hmm.
had been a part of all those years before. And what was really fun as a medium for me in that show is that, I didn't know where we were going. I didn't have access to the case files before going to the location. I didn't know what the other mediums had picked up on all of those years ago. So when I would go in and do my walkthrough and then find out that what I was getting lined up exactly with what mediums were getting 40, 50 years ago, was really, really fun. So no, I definitely miss that show. It was cool to be a part of.
Yeah, I'm sure, and it was different. It wasn't like your normal paranormal shows. It was that they threw a little twist on it, and I think that's what made it really interesting. So, all right, Katie, I'm going to jump to you for a second.
Yes, sir.
I read that you were an Army vet,
Yes, sir.
so I want to go ahead and say thank you for your time and service for that.
Thank you.
Um,
I enjoyed the time that I was in. You know, it was good. Taught me a lot. I feel like I didn't actually grow up until I did my time in the service. So
right. Now, when you were in the service, did you experience anything during your time, or was this the paranormal something you kind of got into after you were out of the service?
well, I've had a lifelong interest in the paranormal, just in general, you know, like everything. I remember when I was a kid, I had a book and it was like a encyclopedia of weird stuff or what that's not
Right,
the title, but you know, that's
right,
essentially what it was. And so it had everything in it from like UFO, like the Roswell incident to ghosts, to vampires, to spontaneous human combustion, right? So
right.
I've read that book from cover to cover probably a million times, maybe an exaggeration. But, you know, when I joined the military, my first duty station was Germany, and Schweinfurt, Germany. And that's in Bavaria, like the southern part of Germany.
Right.
And we were actually like our headquarters building and all the barracks and even the housing that I lived in, the single family housing that we lived in, my wife and my daughter and I, it, it used to all be Nazi buildings.
Oh,
Oh,
no
wow.
way.
Oh,
Oh my
man.
Yes.
God.
Yes. So like the headquarters building, especially, it was four stories high, including the basement. And so, you know, as an NCO, I would have to pull staff duty, and I would have to sit at the front office at the desk for 24 hours at a time, right? And then you switch out with somebody else who pulls staff duty. And so, you know, you have to walk, you have to do all your rounds at night, you know, check all the locks, open everything that's locked, make sure everything's good inside. So walking around a previously destroyed Nazi headquarters building, like in the middle of the night, that definitely introduces you to some real paranormal activity, you know. And unfortunately, I didn't, you know, in Germany you don't get ghost adventures, you don't get like
Right.
you don't get cable. So we had AFN. It's not that, you know, they play like military propaganda commercials and you know, whatever the pop thing is at the time.
Right.
So I didn't. The only experience I had, you know, as far as like people actually ghost hunting and seeing them do it at that point was like ghost hunters.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, they were kind of the originals to bring it to mainstream. So I wanted to do it so bad, and I'd listened to Coast to Coast for years, and you know, so I did start recording EVPs in Germany. And then we got to Louisiana, and I was like, we had my son, and then I found out that I was going to be medically retired because of my injuries that I got downrange.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, you know what, Katie, whenever I get out of the Army, you know, technically I'm retired, so I want to do something that I want to do, you know.
Right.
And I've always had a strong calling towards the supernatural.
All
And
right.
and with my tech background in the military, it just kind of just happened. I just happened to start building equipment. People started liking it, and so then here we are.
And that's what I was just fixing to ask, if you used anything from the military and kind of incorporated it into the paranormal. So
Oh
you kind
Lord,
of started using your background in tech in the military and started building your equipment then.
right? Yeah. Like I remember, you know, especially my first trip to okay. So when I went to Afghanistan in 2011, that's I had been to school for all this electronics education on the MRAPs, the mine resistant ambush protected vehicles, and that's the latest in military vehicle technology, right?
Right.
But so it's a lot of highly complicated electrical systems on it, like sensors, like sound sensors.
Uh-huh.
Some of the turrets can detect where bullets are coming from and automatically swivel in that direction. So I got introduced to a lot of like computer programming, because you actually can sit down with the computer, plug it into these vehicles, and program them to do what you want them to do. So, and you can look at what all the sensors are reading, and I was just fascinated by all that. You know, I've worked on construction equipment before, but to see that level of just technology was amazing to me. And so, you know, I just started tinkering. And then my friend Doug Pemblot taught me a lot of stuff with analog electronics. And then I feel like I have a connection maybe with Mr. Frank Sumption
Mm-hmm.
in the afterlife, and he may have helped me along the way.
Right.
What? Oh, by the way, Katie's totally a psychic medium.
Oh, is that right?
Cindy. Yeah, see, well, I'll let you. Why do you think that, Cindy?
It's just, I know you are. The guy is a psychic medium. Like, I know he's like the tech guy on our show, but he's equally as tapped in. So on Ghost of Devil's Perch, he was drawing spirits, he was sensing them. Like it was so cool. And what people I think they don't know is that like we don't see how what we're getting lines up until we're actually watching the episode. So
Mhm.
when you're watching like the Cabbage Patch, where I was getting the name Richard and he was hearing it at the same time, like we didn't even know that that had happened
Oh,
until we were
wow.
yeah, because we don't see the footage, right? We're both
Nope.
doing our own thing.
Right.
So I was
Yeah,
like,
we were
holy
in
crap.
two completely separate buildings. I mean, like the
Yeah.
distance between these buildings is what, 40 feet?
Yeah,
Right.
no.
At least 40 feet, right? So
Yep.
Yeah.
And then also with the Fink house, like what you didn't see is that KD had drawn a train. It was like right? It was like the night before. I don't remember
it
when
was
you
a
did
train.
that. Yeah,
No, I
so
drew that like the night before.
right.
Remember? Yeah, and I showed it to you back at the hotel because I was like, dude, I got to show you this when we get back to when we get off tonight at friggin' whatever ungodly hour it was. And yeah, it's not because it kind of tripped me out to see that. But yeah, and then that had like that was later on had like it was completely validated to me because I found that exact train.
Oh, that's
wow.
right. Yeah, you went to where'd you go? Like you went to the
Can't say,
train
I can't
museum or
say
something?
it.
Oh, that's okay, yeah. So but
Right.
anyway, like the thing is like
That's okay.
he totally tapped in. So it was really fun for me, because I believe everybody has the ability to a degree, but it was super fun to work with somebody who I think is like super tapped in as well. And then to watch the episodes as they unfold when we're watching them, as they're airing to see like, yeah, we were picking up on the same thing, like both of us in different spaces a lot of the time.
So Cindy, I want to. Hey, dude, I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
No,
like,
you're good.
Okay, me and Cindy don't get to like talk face to face much. So, and when there's not like 100 people around and they want to all talk to Cindy.
Whatever.
But anyway, so I was talking to somebody in a podcast the other night. They were asking me about your automatic writing, and a lot of times you do write like there's sometimes it's just like scribble, right?
Well, it's always like as I'm writing it, I'm just writing so fast. It's always words, but when you look back at it, it looks like scribbles because it's so fast.
Right.
Yeah,
So somebody else looking at it later on, they would think, oh man. So do you think that's like your like the catalyst for you is just putting pen on paper and then and that's what kind of that's not like the only way you're able to use your ability, obviously, but for you that provides like a focal point, like a something to I don't know, something to kind of align your neuron synapses the best.
Yeah.
To
I
receive
mean,
a message.
it depends, right? Like, so automatic writing, it's a tool in the tool belt, right? So, as a psychic medium, like you need to have a lot of tools in your tool belt if you're going to do paranormal investigation because you have to know how to tap into land. You have to know what's a psychic imprint, what's psychic, what's mediumship, what's an intelligent haunting, what's this. It's like there's so much to really sort through. And so I use automatic writing a lot when I'm in a location and I'm being bombarded with energy. It helps me get very focused. So I can ask a question like, who is in this place? And then it's a clearer channel for me because I'm not having to really interpret an image or try to filter something through my own awareness. It's just like coming through as a channel, if that makes sense. It's like a stream of consciousness.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Like, it's like a way to like precision, like to hone your focus, like by focusing on one thing. It's almost like how Tibetan monks, right? Like when they meditate, they'll imagine pulling a string towards them sometimes, right? And that's what you just imagine is you're pulling this one string, and they focus on that, and that's how they reach that state of nirvana or whatever.
Yeah. Right? I want to get to that state of nirvana. It's so amazing.
Dude, man. I mean, it smells like Teen Spirit. Is great. But...
Yeah. And see, and maybe you're right. Maybe he is a psychic because that was actually going to be the next thing I dove into was automatic writing. So,
see.
So now I can just skip that question.
Hey.
He predicted it for me. So
Katie, don't steal my job. What the hell? Go back in the corner. Go back in
I
your
would never
corner,
do that
Katie.
to you, Cindy. I would never do that to you.
I'm just kidding. Wait, Katie, can we
You're
talk
way
about
prettier than I am anyway, so.
whatever? Wait, can we talk about your hearse, Katie?
Oh, yes, we can talk about my hearse.
oh wait a
I
minute,
don't know. If I
you
could
have
throw up pictures, I would. Like,
you
how do
have
I
a
throw up
hearse.
pictures?
You have a hearse.
I do now.
That is so awesome. I've always
know what?
wanted a hearse since I was like a teenager.
Oh, it's been a lifelong dream. Is there any way I can send you a picture and you can flash her up on the screen?
If you have a picture right now, you can flash it up real quick.
Oh, can I? How do I do that?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. All right.
No,
then,
no,
let's see.
Katie, you just hold it up to the screen, or if you
Yeah.
plug your,
I think I got it.
yeah.
I think I figured it out. Maybe here. Okay. Yes. And
yeah. Yeah, that's badass, man.
yes. Yes. Okay.
Wait, you have to duck because you're in the way of your hearse. Just
Yep,
duck.
I'm gonna get out of the way.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Dude, check it out.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's
Now, are
got
you going to be doing some
suicide
work to it, or are
everything.
you just what's your plan with that? Are you turning it into like your mobile paranormal patrol, or is it just something you've always wanted and you're just going to kind of drive it around and showcase it? What's the plan with that?
Okay, so here's the hearse deal. There's this lovely lady that owns a theater in Smithville, Missouri, and her name is Linda Taylor. And it's a theater / coffee bar. It's where we do our watch parties every Sunday. And that she was such a wonderful person. She says she saw something in me, and she wants me to have this car that she would never even consider getting rid of, like since she's had it. And she had named it Pristine, kind of like Christine, but pristine.
Right.
And showed me a picture of it. I was in love with it right away. I said, I got to go check it out. So I went out, took a look at it last night. I almost got it started last night. If I had a good battery, I'd have had it started. It hadn't been. Yeah, I checked it out, checked the oil, checked everything over. Because I'm a mechanic. I think I mentioned that.
Right.
And this thing is just beautiful. My plan. And thanks to Linda Taylor, I will be forever in your debt for giving me such a great deal on it. But my plan is to turn it. I want to like be respectful to the car, because I'm like that with I'm weird like that with stuff. I make ghost boxes out of old radios.
Right.
But like I always apologize to the radio for like gutting it. And I'm gonna give you a new life.
Right.
So that's what I'm gonna do with the hearse. I'm gonna give it a new life. It's got 51,000 original miles on it. It has a casket in the back.
Oh wow!
Oh
hell!
Does?
Yes, it does. And the casket on this one it's got motors on it, and you can slide the cat with the suicide doors, both of them. You can slide it out of either side.
Oh wow!
The casket will come out on the gurney on either side, or it'll come out of the back. And so I'm thinking I'm going to make it a investigation headquarters vehicle.
What about an Airbnb?
That would be cool. You know what? Some people would definitely do that.
They would.
That's what I'm saying.
Like ride share too. See, it could double, right? Ride share or Airbnb.
Well, that's pretty sweet, man. I look forward to seeing that in action once you get it up and going.
Oh yeah, it's trust me, I'm going to be very proud of this thing.
I imagine I would be too. All right, so Cindy, my first introduction to you was on Portals to Hell. What are Jack and Katrina like? They seem like they're really down to earth, especially Jack.
Yeah. No, they're both very down to earth. Jack's my pal. I've been friends with him for years. Always a pleasure working with both of them. They're really they're just awesome people. So it's always been really fun being on Portals.
Right, and that's personally one of my favorite shows out right now, because it's a little bit different, and they throw in a lot of what people would consider the boring stuff during an investigation, which I think a lot of people should see, because like a lot of these shows like Ghost Adventures and stuff, they make it seem like it's just happening nonstop, and as investigators and all this stuff, we know that it doesn't. So I've always been kind of drawn to that show for that particular reason.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is important because look, you're watching an episode, which is what, about 47 minutes. Let's say it's 47 minutes
Mhm.
without commercials, right? And you're seeing all of the highlights, all of the moments where things were happening a lot of the time, but people need to know that and remember that we're filming, each episode takes 5 or 6 days to film.
Mhm.
And we're on a location for several hours, right? So you're right.
Lots of hours
Yeah, a
sometimes.
lot of
Mhm.
hours investigating. So many things don't make an episode. It's like, as somebody who's on the episode and who was part of the filming too, sometimes when we watch it, we're like, oh my God, I can't believe that didn't make it in. Like, what is happening? But it's just part of it because you only have a very limited amount of time to put a show together, and they have to take the parts that make sense,
Right, and they kind of got to make a story out of it, and
Right.
I get that part. So
Yeah, that's essentially like what it boils down to, period. At the end
right.
of the day, what do we need to be in
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna that adds to the narrative of the story, right?
Right.
And if it falls outside of that, it's hard to justify putting that in when you could have put something else in that kind
Mm-hmm.
of validated the main plot line,
Right. Right. And so working with all these different people, how is it working with Dave Schrader? Because I know you've worked with him not only on Ghost of Devil's Perch, but on Holzer Files and stuff like that. How is he as an individual?
Oh, Dave's great. Yeah, no, been working with him for years. Pro. Been doing it. He's been doing paranormal stuff forever.
Right. So like I said, he's always come across as real laid back and a real chill guy. So I'm excited to have him on the show whenever I can get him rescheduled. So he seems pretty laid back. So
He is, as long as you don't put him in the top of a church tower.
not a heights guy, huh?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm not. That was scary. Like, I was terrified. That was not.
Cindy, remember when everybody was freaking out because I was like, I put my arms out on the sides of the in the windows and just lean out. Cindy was like, "Stop it, KD."
Did they do that simply just for the show introduction?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. We were up there for about 15, 20 minutes probably.
I think we were up there for like 45 minutes.
Oh, 45? Goodness.
I used to hang out up there. I would just go sit up there and watch cars go by, smoke a cigarette.
No thanks.
Nope, I'm not big on heights either.
I'm not big on, when I was in the Army, I would never jump out of a plane, right? I just could not bring myself to go airborne. I couldn't do it. But yeah, but like regular heights, like if you were to fall out of the tower, you'd probably die. You probably wouldn't die.
No, I think you probably would die.
You think you would? I don't know.
Katie, that's so high. I guess it would depend on how you landed.
Right. Well, I'm like a cat. I land on my feet and my hands.
Oh, you probably wouldn't have arms or legs left. They would probably be useless after that.
They'd be pretty useless. Yeah, you're right.
All right, so Cindy, have you ever used your abilities to help the police solve a case?
Oh, that's a good question. So I do not work directly with law enforcement. At least I haven't yet, really. I do have a good friend who works with law enforcement a lot. So sometimes she's a medium. So sometimes she'll call me to get a second opinion about a case. She's like, what are you picking up on? And then she tells them what I'm getting. So, and I prefer it that way. I think like, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's one of those things where, once you start working in that space, and I know it's really hard for my friends, you just see so many terrible things, like, and I just feel like it would just take it takes a lot of strength, but you can take a beating, like your mind mentally, like seeing murders, and she sees stuff with kids, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty awful. So I know that she's had to like take some breaks throughout her career because it just was like way too intense. And she's done stuff with the FBI. Like she works with law enforcement a lot. So I've kind of learned from her that it's like something to be mindful of and careful of. It's not for everyone.
I'm sure it's not. That'd be,
No.
especially when it comes to little kids, that would be tough. So,
Yep.
um, all right. So I want to ask you real quick, Katie, what's some of the equipment you've invented?
Oh, well, I would say most of the things I didn't like invent like from scratch, right? I had inspiration from other people. The ghost helmet's one of my favorite ones. It's I've it's something that I feel like is more uh geared towards our subconscious, right, or
Hmm.
our consciousness, which is in the way our brain works, which is to me more fascinating than any kind of EMF detector going off, or EVPs are great, ghost boxes are great, because I build them, by the way.
Right.
Supernatural Paranormal Research.com if you want to buy one. But there's something about like what Cindy has, the gift that she has, and so that's why I originally made the helmet, was to try and see if I could tap in also to what they were feeling, what they were experiencing, or seeing or hearing, and I think I've had some results. Cindy. Speaking of you believing that I have paranormal psychic ability, um, I wonder if extensive use of my helmet maybe did that.
I mean, I think it was in you before, but it might
Okay.
have like
Brought it out
activated
maybe.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
because I've had people say that for like a week or two after wearing the helmet, that they would have psychic things like come to them, like premonitions, or
Huh.
that they were clairvoyant still to some degree, or they could see people that weren't there that they assumed were dead people.
Right.
Super
So
interesting.
Hmm.
yeah.
So, Sydney, what would be like some advice you would have for somebody who's maybe they've just learned they have these abilities, and they're kind of struggling to accept it, or they don't know how to use it? What's
Mhm.
some advice you would give to them?
Yeah, find a mentor, start studying, take some classes. It's super tricky to navigate. And I teach, and there's a lot of mediumship teachers, but I
Hey,
also teach mediumship, but it's
Katie is on the
really
way.
it's really important to
Couple more minutes. Sorry. That's
You're
no,
good.
it's okay.
That's
It's
Frank
okay.
and Maria. They're great. They
No, I'm
own the
like I
place.
can't split my brain. I hear things. I hear dead people. No, it's
Sorry.
no, it's okay. It's really important to you know study mediumship or psychic work, because it helps you navigate the space. It helps you understand what's happening, why you're having the experiences, what the images can mean, all of the different possibilities. Because for a lot of people, they also don't feel like they have control over it, right? It's very
Hmm.
spontaneous. So then they're freaked out because they don't know when it's going to happen next. Like
Right.
Katie's raising his hand, right? So to learn how to set boundaries with the spirit world, to also learn how to balance out your own energy. I've been studying mediumship for a really long time,
Hmm.
and I'm so grateful for all of the years that I've spent studying this field. And I'll constantly be a student of mediumship, like forever. But it really gives me the ability to teach mediumship and also to share with people, how to break down their experiences, like what's actually happening, because it's not so cut and dry a lot of the time.
Right.
So yeah, and until you understand the mechanics of psychic ability and mediumship, it's hard to understand.
Right. But
Mhm.
I'll have to pass it on to my wife because she's kind of sensitive to some things. She's kind of getting used to having that ability. She feels like she's always had it, but she's really just tapped into it over the last couple of years. And like she'll like see or
Oh,
hear
yeah,
things that like I won't see or hear, and at times it kind of aggravates her because I don't see it or hear it, and she's like, maybe I'm just crazy. It's like, no, it's like I believe you're seeing this stuff. You just have to learn, kind of how to control it, and all this other stuff. So I'll definitely have to pass that
that's a
on to
good
her.
approach. That's a good approach to talking to her about it that way. And with to go along with what Cindy was saying about people learning more about psychic mediumship.
Hmm.
It's good for people who don't believe they're psychic, or don't really care to have psychic ability. It's good. It's still good for people just in general if you're into paranormal research, to learn more about psychic mediums and their abilities and the mechanics of how they work. You know, the different types of psychic ability, you know, how to differentiate between this, that, and the other, and how the impact that using those abilities can also have on your psychic medium assets that you have on your team.
Well, and on people, right? Like just
Right.
ethics.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
crazy because like a lot of people will say, I'm a psychic medium, I'm professional, and then you watch them work and they're like harming people. You know,
No,
like they
no.
don't,
Right.
not everybody, but it's
Right.
like you how you deliver a message is really
Right.
important.
Mhm.
Yeah, you have to
Because
have tact. Tact is very important.
exactly, you have to use
And
discernment.
Cindy's like an expert with tact. The way she approaches people, the way she talks to people, you'll never see Cindy just come up and tap somebody on the shoulder and, you know, just start cold reading them.
Never.
Because that is like, in my opinion, unethical when it comes to mediums and
Right.
you know, psychic mediums or people with that ability. So like yeah, just to learn the general etiquette
Oh,
and
yeah.
and you know, best practices that most psychic mediums try and use to approach situations and people with tact, like Cindy said. It's
Right.
good for everybody to know. Everybody on the team should be aware of these things, even
Right.
people who aren't psychic, you know. Because yeah, you have to be sensitive to people's situations, you know.
Absolutely.
If the loved one's coming through for them or something, you can't just, you know. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to add that.
Yeah, it's really important. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what's next for each one of you guys? You all have anything specific lined up, or you just kind of taking a break from things? What's going on for you guys?
Well, we're not taking an intentional break. We're just waiting to see what happens next, right? I mean, I think I
Right.
can speak for both of us, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, you know, I'm like a hippie, man. I'm like a modern tech hippie. I just kind of flow where
Katie
the
goes
wind.
with the flow.
That's
Right.
right. I go wherever the wind takes me, man. You know, that's how I roll. Yeah. I hope we get another season in Butte. At a minimum, hopefully we get another season somewhere.
Right.
And you know, because I did get like there was a satisfaction involved in helping with those cases, and you feel like you help those people, and especially I think the one that, you know, that was the coolest, where we got to interact with people the most, was Cabbage Patch, right?
That was really fun. Yeah, that was my
Yeah, with the
favorite. I
kids
think
and
that's my
everything. That
favorite.
was
I
so
like
great.
the Fink family really nice too.
Oh yeah, well yeah. I mean, Barb. Oh yeah, God, they're awesome, right? They're so awesome. I spent so much time in that house too. You know, so yeah, they're awesome, and yeah, spending all that time with the kids at the thing to, you know, for the homeless. Bye, Maria. Bye, Mr. F.
He's talking to spirits, everyone.
Yes, those are spirits. They own the house, the Patterson house. The spirits do. Uh, but yeah, so I think it was great, and I look forward, hopefully, to another season,
Right.
wherever
Yeah,
that may
no.
be. There's so much in Butte, though. It's like,
Yeah.
you could do an entire series just on Butte.
Yeah,
Right.
Butte's amazing. So much stuff going on there.
Well,
The hospital, man, the hospital.
Oh yeah, we didn't get to
We
go there.
didn't get to do
Uh-oh.
it.
Yeah,
I
we
was
didn't get to
so
go there.
upset.
Yeah.
And my Club 31,
Yeah, that's right. I
they
know
tore
there's
that
so many more
sign down.
places. They did.
Mm-hmm. Oh well.
Well, my wife and I are definitely enjoying Ghost of Devil's Perch. And hopefully there will be another season of Ghost of, even if it's not in Butte, maybe, you know, somewhere else.
Right.
You guys can tackle. So so if anybody want to look you guys up and kind of follow along with your journey, how can people follow you on social media?
Yeah, I'm at Cindy Kaza mostly. I think my Instagram is at Cindy Kaza. My professional Facebook is at Medium Cindy Kaza. My website is cindykaza.com. You just type my name in, pops up.
There you go.
Yeah, if you type my name in, like most all my stuff will pop up too. But if you want to like see everything I do, everything I've done in the past, everything I build, what I have for sale, you can go to Supernatural Inc. Paranormal Research.com. And that'll take you. That's got links to our Facebook page. It's got events we're going to be at. It's got all that stuff on there. So yeah.
All right.
That's it.
Well, I really want to
We
thank
talk
both.
to our customers directly. Sorry, we talk to our customers
good.
directly. So if you're interested in anything, just message us on Facebook, on our Facebook page, and we'll get to you.
Well, I'm definitely gonna have to check it out because I'm constantly scouring the internet for new equipment for our team. So,
And I got you covered, man.
all
Got
right,
you covered.
because some of these sites are like I want to buy some of the stuff, but at the same time, I'm like it's like I'm kind of sketchy on it. So, uh,
Yeah, yeah. I'm mostly ITC, but I do have other things.
I got you.
If you're interested in things that light up and make beeps and boops and
Yeah, like right now,
EMS.
my favorite piece is probably our REM pod. We have a lot of luck with that, so that's probably our favorite piece right
Oh,
now.
you
So
you need an ink box, my friend.
I have no idea what that even is, so I'm gonna have to look into it.
Hit me up.
All right. Well, guys, I want to thank both of you. Like I said, I wasn't expecting KD on, so that was an added bonus to this episode.
That's always the case. Nobody ever expects KD. Yet here I
I
am.
do.
Oh, thank you, Cindy.
Yeah.
So I want to thank Cindy Kaza, KD Stafford. Thank you guys for appearing on the show, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you. Bye,
Thank you.
Katie.
Bye,
Thank you.
Cindy.
Bye. Bye, dude.
Hey everyone, I hope you really enjoyed that episode with Cindy Kaza and K.D. Stafford of Ghost of Devil's Perch. Two really amazing guests, and I really enjoyed having them on the show. Speaking of the show, I just want to take a moment and thank everyone that has listened to the show so far. It truly means a lot to us, and we greatly appreciate your support. But keep listening because we still have some more amazing guests lined up for the future. Some you've heard of, some you may not have heard of. So keep listening. It's only going to get better down the road. I also want to take a moment to talk about our team, RKB Paranormal, and some stuff we have going on in the month of October. October 1st, we are headed back to Huntsville, Tennessee to the historic Scott County Jail. And yes, I said back because we have investigated this location before. We were there last October investigating. And for those that do not know, we captured our most compelling piece of evidence to date at this location. If you haven't seen the video, it's up on our YouTube channel. It's also on the front page of our website, rkbparanormal.com. So check that out. I think you'll be truly amazed. I know I'm blown away every time I watch it, and I've seen the video over 1,000 times. October 15th, we were talking about heading up to Adams, Tennessee to the Bell Witch Festival. And come on, the Bell Witch, it's one of the most well-known ghost stories of all time. Did it happen? Did it not happen? We may never know the answer to that, but it makes for a really good story around a campfire. I've been to the property myself and toured the cave a few times, and it does give you that eerie feeling, and I do believe there is activity that occurs there. And who knows, in between all the festivities, we may sneak in a little mini investigation, but don't tell the owners that because they may just kick us out. October 22nd, very big date for us, our very first paranormal convention, Phantom Paws and Historic Calls in Lebanon, Tennessee at the Wilson County Fairgrounds. $10 at the door. If you have not already prepaid and bought your tickets online, it'll run from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. RKB Paranormal will be there. We'll have our equipment set up. We're going to have our YouTube channel going. We have some goodies to give out to people that stop by and chat paranormal with us. So come on out. It's going to be a great time. A lot of our past guests are going to be there as well. Mid 10 Paranormal is going to be there. Apparitions Among Us, who we're great friends with, they will be attending as well. Our great friend Eric Freeman Sims, who was actually our very first guest of the show, he's going to be in attendance. And also a past guest, PPF Investigations, who is the host of the event. They will be there as well. October 29th, we've discussed going to Hermitage, Tennessee, to the home of President Andrew Jackson and taking the ghost tour they put on there. I've never personally been there. I've heard the building is very haunted. I've even read that President Jackson himself haunts the home. So it should be a good time if we decide to go out, and maybe, who knows, maybe we'll interact with the former president. November 12th, we are headed up to Franklin, Kentucky, to the Old Stone Jail for the paranormal meet and greet. We've investigated the jail before. It wasn't a very active night for us, but that happens at times. But that will not stop us to going back at some point and investigating there again. So come on up. November 12th. I may have said October, but it's November 12th to Franklin, Kentucky, to the Old Stone Jail. We'll be there. Some other great teams and investigators will be there as well. So just come and hang out with us. There is no charge. All they ask is a small donation to the Simpson County Historical Society. So again, I just want to thank everybody for your support of not only the show, but as the team as a whole. We all greatly appreciate it. So for myself and the entire team, I want to say thank you, and keep listening and keep supporting your favorite paranormal team, RKB Paranormal. Thank you, and we'll catch you next episode.